There's a cultural earthquake rumbling beneath the glittering surface of pop music in 2025. On one side stands Taylor Swift, the global titan who has spent over a decade redefining fame, music, and fan connection. On the other is Billie Eilish, the Gen Z anti-pop venom who turned whispery vocals and dark aesthetics into chart dominance. Now, in the year 2025, their worlds collide, not through rivalry, but through sheer magnitude. One is riding the second wave of her record-breaking Eras tour, the other dropping a genre-bending new album that's rewriting rules. This isn't just a tale of two superstars, it's a battle for cultural relevance, artistic supremacy, and generational influence. The question on everyone's lips: who owns 2025? As the music industry and pop culture continue to evolve rapidly, Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish are not only surviving, they're thriving. But what does owning a year really mean in today's digital, globalized, and fandom-driven world? Is it ticket sales? Streaming numbers? Social media dominance? Or something more intangible, like who defines the emotional tone of a generation? To answer that, we must dive deep into what both Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish are bringing to the table in 2025 through their music, public personas, cultural impact, and the seismic responses they're generating. Because to own a year isn't just about what you do, it's about how deeply you move the world. Let's begin with the woman who has arguably set the standard for modern pop success. Taylor Swift has always understood timing. It's one of the reasons her Eras tour, arguably the most ambitious live concert experience in pop history, not only succeeded but became a cultural landmark. Initially launched in 2023, the tour surged into 2024 and now into 2025, breaking records at every turn. In this final lap, Swift has taken the Eras tour global in ways even her biggest fans couldn't have predicted. With new setlists, surprise songs, and even rumored collaborations, Taylor has transformed her concert into a moving museum of her career. Each stop becomes a destination, each night an event. Cities across Europe, Asia, and Latin America have reported massive tourism spikes due to Swift's presence. Her concerts aren't just concerts, they're economies. But it's not just nostalgia driving her. Swift's mind is still as forward-thinking as ever. After the release of 1989 Taylor's version in late 2023, she continued to push forward with Reputation Taylor's version in 2024. And then came 2025, a surprise new album, hinted at during cryptic speeches and lyric changes in her setlists. Dropped without warning, the Tortured Poets department crashed streaming platforms and immediately topped charts across over 100 countries. With it, Swift leaned even further into her literary songwriting, her melancholic storytelling, and her mastery of emotionally charged yet universally resonant pop music. Critics lauded it as her most mature, introspective work since Folklore. Fans embraced its stripped-back production, its lyrical density, and its brutally honest reflections on heartbreak and rebirth. Meanwhile, Swift's influence on younger artists remains undeniable, whether it's her storytelling, her vocal stylings, or her ability to turn personal diary entries into global anthems. Echoes of her artistry ripple through the industry. She's become more than a pop star, she's a benchmark. And in 2025, that power is fully visible, whether on stage, in streaming stats, or in the social movements she continues to support. Her advocacy for artists' rights, mental health, and women's empowerment remained woven into her public persona, giving her career a depth that few could match. Yet, as Taylor rides the tidal wave of her empire, Billie Eilish is forging an entirely different path, one that feels equally seismic but more enigmatic. In 2019, Billie Eilish arrived like a glitch in the Matrix. A teen who whispered instead of belted, who dressed in oversized clothing and wrote songs about death and detachment. She was a reaction to the shiny overproduction of pop, a mirror to Gen Z's anxiety-riddled introspection. Fast forward to 2025, and Billie isn't just a trend, she's a movement. Her third studio album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, released in the spring of this year, might be the most important piece of music in her career so far. While her debut was raw and minimal and her second album Happier Than Ever was experimental and emotionally charged, this latest record is something else entirely, a mature, lush, and genre-fluid body of work that challenges not only what pop can sound like, but what it can mean. Eilish has evolved both sonically and visually. Gone are the shot green roots and shadowy silhouettes. In their place, a subdued, vintage glamour with an eerie edge. It's not mainstream, but it's magnetic. In a world overwhelmed with digital noise, Billie remains a master of restraint. Every whisper, every bass drop, every surreal video becomes an event because of its contrast to the world's loudness. And her fans have followed her into this new era with fierce loyalty. Gen Z and younger millennials see Billie not just as a singer, but as an avatar of emotional authenticity. She talks about mental health without glamorizing it. She writes about alienation in a way that feels communal. She's also increasingly comfortable in her role as a generational voice, one that doesn't seek to dominate the conversation with morality, but instead invites introspection. Billie's 2025 tour, while smaller in scale than Swift's, is intentionally intimate. She's choosing resonance over reach. Performing in uniquely designed, immersive venues with stripped-back arrangements, Eilish is crafting an emotional experience, not just a show. Critics have described it as church for the emotionally weary, a space where the boundaries between performer and audience dissolve. So now, the contrast becomes stark. Taylor Swift, the master of spectacle and structured storytelling, versus Billie Eilish, the conjurer of atmosphere and intimate vulnerability. Two women, two approaches, and both at the top of their game. Numbers still matter. Swift's Eras tour is predicted to gross over $2 billion by the time it wraps up, making it the highest-grossing tour of all time. Her album re-recordings continue to dominate Billboard's top 10, often appearing multiple times in the same week. Swift's social media engagement remains unparalleled, even without traditional promotion. She's effectively created a pop universe in which she is the sun. Billie, meanwhile, has taken a different approach to commercial success. She doesn't flood the market with singles. She rarely posts. She avoids overexposure. Yet her new album shattered Spotify's opening day records for a female artist in 2025. Her visuals trend without needing to be explained, and her collaborations, ranging from film scores to experimental producers, show a daring edge that feels like the future. Billie isn't aiming to beat Taylor at her own game, she's building a new one. And here lies the truth. 2025 is not a year owned by just one woman. It's a year of coexistence, of two seismic forces in pop music shaping the culture from different poles. Swift is rewriting history and capitalizing on legacy. Eilish is rewriting the rules and capitalizing on mystery. Together, they represent two halves of a modern pop world: the celebratory and the cerebral, the confessional and the cryptic, the maximalist and the minimalist. Beyond music, their cultural reach continues to evolve. Taylor's connection with her fans, what Swifties call Easter egg culture, has spawned endless theories, countdowns, and fan-led campaigns. It's created a world where fans feel like detectives, connected to a larger mystery. Billie, in contrast, gives less, but what she gives feels sacred. She speaks rarely, but when she does, it hits like thunder. In a time when most celebrities fled the zone, Billie withholds. That in itself is powerful. Both artists also transcend music. Taylor Swift's involvement in politics, from voter registration drives to statements on women's rights, continues to make headlines. Her cultural presence is so significant that economists even study her impact. Billie, meanwhile, has ventured further into the film world, scoring major projects and winning Oscars. She's also a frequent collaborator with environmental movements, pushing sustainability in fashion and live shows. Their influence is multidimensional: art, activism, identity. If 2023 and 2024 were the years of Taylor Swift dominating the past and present through nostalgia and reinvention, then 2025 is the year she cements herself as the defining pop artist of the last 2 decades. If 2019 was Billie's breakout and 2021 her transformation, then 2025 is her coronation, not as the next big thing, but as the current and future voice of a new generation. So, who owns 2025? The answer might be both, in different ways. Swift owns the collective celebration of memory and mastery. Billie owns the future's emotional blueprint. Taylor provides the soundtrack to our triumphs. Billie, the score to our quietest pain. Taylor's voice echoes in stadiums. Billie's whispers linger in our headphones. Taylor builds empires. Billie builds worlds. In the end, perhaps the better question isn't who owns 2025, but what does it mean to own a year in pop culture anymore? If it means dominating charts, Taylor's your answer. If it means shifting taste, Billie has the crown. If it means emotional relevance, artistic boldness, and audience devotion, then both women stand shoulder to shoulder, ruling 2025 not as competitors, but as co-authors of pop music's most fascinating chapter yet. The beauty of 2025 lies in the coexistence of these two monoliths, proof that pop music doesn't have to choose between past and future, between spectacle and substance, between confession and innovation. It can hold them all. And in doing so, it becomes more human, more powerful, and more transformative than ever before.